On the morning of September 25, 1978, the sky over San Diego was bright, calm, and heartbreakingly ordinary. Children were walking to school. Parents were heading to work. The hum of daily life blended with the distant, familiar sound of airplanes descending toward the city's busy airport. No one looking up that day could have imagined that within minutes, the peaceful blue sky would turn into a scene of unimaginable tragedy. PSA Flight 182, a Boeing 727 operated by Pacific Southwest Airlines, was nearing the end of its short flight from Sacramento to San Diego. On board were 135 passengers and crew members, families returning home, business travelers, friends chatting casually as the aircraft began its descent. The mood was routine, relaxed. The flight had been smooth. The sun poured through the cabin windows, illuminating smiling faces and open newspapers. At the same time, a small Cessna 172 was also flying in the same airspace, conducting a training flight. The skies above San Diego were crowded but controlled. Air traffic controllers carefully monitored the movements of each aircraft, guiding them safely toward their destinations. It was a system built on communication, precision, and trust. As PSA Flight 182 descended toward Lindbergh Field, today known as San Diego International Airport, the crew was instructed to visually maintain separation from the smaller Cessna ahead. From the cockpit, the pilots acknowledged seeing the small plane. For a moment, everything seemed under control. But in aviation, seconds matter. The Cessna, smaller and harder to track visually against the sprawling city backdrop, drifted slightly from where the PSA crew expected it to be. Radio communications overlapped. Instructions were misunderstood. In the cockpit of the 727, there was a sudden shift, confusion, urgency. The crew tried to correct their path, but the closure rate between the two aircraft was too fast. At 9:01 a.m., the Boeing 727 slammed into the Cessna mid-air. Witnesses on the ground described a deafening explosion. A fireball erupted in the sky. Pieces of metal rained down over the North Park neighborhood. The larger jet, mortally wounded, rolled uncontrollably before plummeting toward the earth. In those final seconds, passengers likely felt fear, confusion, perhaps even disbelief. What had begun as a normal morning commute had turned into chaos above the city. The aircraft crashed into a residential area of San Diego, destroying homes and igniting fires that spread quickly through the neighborhood. Thick black smoke rose into the clear sky that had seemed so innocent just moments before. Sirens filled the air as firefighters, police officers, and neighbors rushed toward the devastation. All 135 people aboard PSA Flight 182 were killed. The two men in the Cessna also lost their lives. On the ground, 7 more people perished. In total, 144 lives were taken that morning. The impact on the community was immediate and overwhelming. Entire families were shattered. Homes were reduced to rubble. Streets that once echoed with children's laughter were suddenly silent, replaced by the crackle of flames and the sobs of survivors. Rescue workers moved through the debris with heavy hearts, knowing the scale of the loss.
Noting the impact
For San Diego, it was the deadliest aviation accident in California history at the time. The city mourned together. Memorial services were held. Names were read aloud. Candles flickered in the evening air as strangers embraced one another, united in grief. Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board began the painstaking process of understanding what had happened. Their findings revealed a tragic chain of human error and communication breakdown. Visual separation, the practice of pilots keeping another aircraft in sight to avoid collision, had failed. Air traffic control procedures, radio congestion, and cockpit assumptions all played a role. It was not one single mistake, but a sequence of small misjudgments that aligned in the worst possible way.
This diagram
Out
shows
of the
a near-midair
devastation
collision
came
virtual path.
change.
Maintaining safe
The crash
separation
prompted
here is
major
critical to
improvements in
preventing
air
disaster.
traffic
All right,
control
let's pass the
procedures,
TCAS.
communication
Stop,
clarity,
ready.
and the expansion of
Last
collision
connections.
avoidance technology.
TCAS traffic, 12 o'clock.
In the years that
Contact.
followed,
Climbing to
traffic
37,000.
collision
Clear
avoidance
conflict, leveling
systems,
off.
or TCAS, became standard on commercial aircraft, providing automated warnings to pilots when another aircraft comes too close. These systems have since prevented countless potential disasters, but for the families of Flight 182, technology and reforms could never replace what was lost. Every year, San Diego remembers. A memorial stands in
Remembering
North
today.
Park, honoring the victims. A
These are
quiet
photos.
place where names are etched in stone, where flowers are placed gently at its base. The sky above it is often as blue as it was that September morning, a painful reminder of how fragile normalcy can be. PSA Flight 182 was not just an aviation accident, it was a human tragedy. It was 144 stories interrupted, birthdays never celebrated, dreams never fulfilled, words never spoken. It was a city forced to confront how quickly life can change. And yet, in remembering, there is also resilience. The lessons learned from that day have made flying safer for millions around the world. The memory of those lost continues to shape aviation safety standards, ensuring that their legacy endures in every safe landing.
This is so much
On that
fun.
clear morning
I know.
in
Let's go to the
September
swings.
1978,
Yeah, race you.
the sky over San Diego betrayed the trust placed in it. But out of the devastation rose a commitment to do better, to communicate more clearly, and to protect the lives that travel through the air every single day. The sky is still blue over San Diego. Planes still descend toward the runway. Life continues, but the story of PSA Flight 182 reminds us that behind every flight number are human lives, precious, irreplaceable, and deserving of safe passage home.